Hi. Whoa, back up. This is the first one, right. So Communitas started a long time ago in a land not too far away, basically inspired by the fact that developers were coming into a neighborhood and wanting to bulldoze stuff and change everything, and the community didn't know how to deal with it. So a bunch of people got together and decided that they were going to help. And their purpose was to empower people, groups, and communities with knowledge and skills to help them achieve their dreams and goals. That was the beginning. That evolved over time. We've been around since the 70s, and our services, people ask me occasionally, like, what is it you do? And I thought, it's so hard because it'd be easier if I could describe it as a knife. I do one thing, but it looks more like this. We do so many different things: co-op development, worker co-op development, co-housing development, project management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to tell you a bit about just the housing part, for the most part. Development stages of a housing co-op, we go from initial concept, what are the people's dreams, to final conclusion. They get to move in, they get a housing project. A little bit about those initial stages. So we have initial development. We have to deal with people and go, okay, what are your goals? Are they realizable? Can we build you a house like that? Do we have enough money? Can we find the money? Can we find a piece of land? Identify options. Then we move into the next stage and say, okay, really now that we've got that firmed up and we think that's real, now is there a physical feasibility to it? Is there really demand? Is there a legal feasibility? Is there an economic feasibility? Got to weigh all the factors into the equation. Eventually, that takes us to the next stage where we're now up to the development and marketing stage. And there's a whole bunch of stuff: drawings, specs, permits, equity, and debt. We have to line up everything. Basically, we're the developers, but we're not the developers like a typical developer. We're a developer for hire. So we do all the work, but we work with the client, and the client makes all the decisions. So this is a little bit of our background in terms of some of the projects. So this was one of the first projects, and interestingly enough, Lynn pointed out that this project was inspired through a charrette process that started here, took 2 weeks, and had over 200 people involved in the charrette design process. Jumping forward a few years, now we get to Sundance. I actually live here. This is a non-equity housing co-op, 59 townhomes. There was a design charrette here as well, and there was the beginning of sustainability here. But moving on, we get to Riverwind, and now this is completely different. Now we're going vertical. My first experience with a high-rise and the first ownership co-op in Alberta. And there was a steep learning curve on this, very steep in a number of different ways. So a couple of things that we learned from this, or I learned from this for sure, is there was advantages to simplicity. This building got rid of this traditional heating system, went with electric heat and high-performance windows. However, we also learned that my trust in the architects and the engineers and everything else was misplaced. So then, a number of years later, we did this building. And this was the first multi-unit residential building in Canada to achieve the CBIP status, which meant that it was 25% more energy efficient than the National Model Energy Code, which is 25% more efficient than most buildings at the time. So then we move along, and our sustainability agenda keeps moving forward, not just on the physical front, but on the spiritual community front. We get involved and help the Prairie Sky group put their co-housing project together. Moving forward one more, and now we're at Station Pointe Greens, and this is, you'll note, 20-something, because it's not built yet. It is a dream. This was the original concept. It was going to be 5, or is going to be 5 co-ops, and we had land all over the site. Then we got funding from the federal government, and we got funding to do research on sustainable affordability. And so we did this big design process, and we got the engineers involved. Another mistake. And then they designed this process, which I'm going to skip past, and this is the end result. So we moved past a project that was going to be very complicated to manage to a passive house design. It is 5 co-ops, 4 towers, 10 townhomes, and it incorporates, in fact, as well, an ecological wastewater facility. So 100% of the waste on the facility, black water, gray water, etc., is going to be processed on site biologically, the result of which is this building will produce no waste to go into the standard system. And so, and it's passive house, 90% less energy to heat and cool, 100% on-site wastewater management with green financing. The savings will actually pay for the building premium to such an extent that it'll actually come in at lower than conventional cost. Our challenge as a company, none of us are getting any younger. And we're so busy servicing our clients that succession planning has been kept getting pushed. And so basically we're at a point now where we have to step back and go, okay, we have to find people who are going to be able to step into our shoes and take it from there. That's it.